In the dead of night on a rain-slicked highway in rural Virginia, where the American dream turns into a nightmare for the unsuspecting, a young Filipina girl named Maria Santos gripped the steering wheel of her beat-up Honda Civic, her heart pounding like a war drum as blue and red lights flashed in her rearview mirror. Little did those arrogant cops know, they were about to unleash the fury of the most feared Delta Force commander in U.S. military history, a man whose name alone sent terrorists fleeing into the shadows. If this pulse-pounding tale of justice, revenge, and hidden power grips you from the start, smash that subscribe button right now. USA and UK viewers, join our community of over 1 million thrill-seekers who crave stories that expose the underbelly of authority and deliver epic twists you won't see coming, and hit the bell for notifications so you never miss a beat. Maria Santos had always been the quiet type, a 22-year-old Filipina immigrant who had come to the United States on a student visa to study nursing at a community college in Virginia, far from the bustling streets of Manila where she grew up in a modest home filled with the aroma of adobo and the echoes of her father's stern but loving voice. Her father, Colonel Ramon Santos, was a legend in the shadows of global warfare, a Filipino-American who had risen through the ranks of the U.S. Army's elite Delta Force, known only as the Ghost, among his peers for his uncanny ability to infiltrate enemy lines undetected, extracting hostages and neutralizing threats with surgical precision that left no trace. But Maria kept that part of her life hidden. She didn't want pity or awe, just a chance to build her own future away from the violence that had defined her family's past. That fateful night, as she drove home from a late shift at the local diner, exhaustion weighing on her eyelids, 2 patrol cars screeched up behind her, their sirens blaring like accusations. She pulled over promptly, her hands visibly on the dashboard as she'd been taught in her driver's ed class for immigrants: always comply, always stay calm. The first cop, a burly man named Officer Harlan Briggs, sauntered up with a flashlight beam piercing her eyes, his partner, Officer Lena Croft, hanging back with a smirk that screamed entitlement. "License and registration, sweetheart," Briggs barked, his tone dripping with condescension as he eyed her ethnic features, the slight accent in her polite, "Yes, sir." Maria fumbled for her documents, her fingers trembling not from fear but from the injustice she sensed brewing. She'd been speeding. No, her speedometer read 55 in a 60 zone. But Briggs wasn't interested in facts. "You people think you can just drive however you want in our country," he sneered, snatching her ID and tossing it to Croft, who laughed. "Filipina, huh, probably here illegally. Let's check her out." They weren't wrong about her heritage, but Maria was legal, every paper in order, yet that didn't stop them from escalating. Croft radioed in, but instead of verifying, she claimed a hit on a similar name. Pure fabrication, Maria would later learn. Briggs yanked her door open, pulling her out roughly by the arm, slamming her against the car as rain poured down. "Hands behind your back, illegal," he growled, cuffing her too tightly, the metal biting into her wrists. Maria winced but didn't cry out. She'd seen worse in stories from her father's deployments, tales of brutality in far-off lands. "Please, officers, I haven't done anything," she pleaded softly, her voice steady despite the humiliation. Passers-by slowed but didn't stop. No one wanted trouble with the badges. Croft rifled through her car, tossing her nursing textbooks and a photo of her family onto the wet pavement, laughing at the foreign junk. "Look at this, Harlan, probably smuggling something. Bet her daddy's some cartel guy back home." Oh, how wrong they were. As they shoved her into the back of the patrol car, Maria's mind raced. She asked for her phone call, but they ignored her, driving her to the station with taunts about deportation and teaching her a lesson. At the precinct, a dingy building smelling of stale coffee and regret, they booked her on trumped-up charges: resisting arrest, suspicious behavior, even implying drug possession after finding a planted baggie. Twist number 1, it was all a setup. Briggs and Croft were part of a corrupt clique in the department, known for targeting minorities to pad their arrest quotas and extort bribes. Maria, alone in a holding cell, finally got her call. With shaking hands, she dialed the only number she knew by heart, her father's secure line. "Papa, it's me," she whispered in Tagalog, tears finally breaking free. "They're hurting me, cops. They think I'm nothing." On the other end, thousands of miles away at a classified base in North Carolina, Colonel Ramon Santos's face hardened like forged steel. He was in the middle of briefing a team for a high-stakes op in the Middle East, but family came first, always. Stay strong, Anik, I'm coming. He hung up, his mind shifting to operator mode. But here's the twist. Ramon wasn't just any Delta Force commander. He was the most feared because of his network. Former operatives now in high places, from FBI directors to senators. He didn't storm in guns blazing, that was for amateurs. Instead, he activated his web of influence. Within hours, anonymous tips flooded the department's internal affairs. Videos from dash cams, hacked remotely by a buddy in cyber ops, witness statements from planted sources, even financial records showing Briggs and Croft's bribes from local gangs. By dawn, as Maria sat bruised and weary, the station erupted in chaos. The chief, sweating bullets, received a call from the Pentagon, yes, the actual Pentagon, demanding her release. "You have no idea who you've messed with," the voice on the line said, cold as ice. Briggs and Croft were called in, smug at first, thinking it was a pat on the back. But the chief slammed files on the desk. "You're suspended. Effective immediately. And pray that's all." Twist 2. It wasn't. Ramon arrived that afternoon, not in fatigues but in a sharp suit, flanked by 2 suited men who screamed federal agent. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. "Gentlemen," he said to the quivering officers, "you touched my daughter." Briggs laughed nervously. "Who the hell are you?" Raymond's eyes narrowed. "The man who ended regimes single-handedly. And now, I'll end your careers." Evidence poured in. Turns out, Croft had a history of planting evidence, Briggs of excessive force complaints buried deep. But the real twist came when Raymond's investigation uncovered a larger ring. The cops were tied to a human trafficking network targeting immigrants like Maria, bullying them into silence or worse. Maria, released with apologies, watched as her father orchestrated their downfall. FBI raids hit the station, arrests made, headlines blaring, corrupt cops exposed by elite soldiers' vengeance. Briggs ended up in prison. Croft fled but was caught at the border, ironic, considering their taunts. Maria, empowered, finished her degree and became an advocate for immigrant rights, her father's shadow her shield. But the final twist, Ramon revealed to her that night, over lumpia he cooked himself, "I wasn't always Delta. I started as an immigrant kid, bullied by cops just like them." It's full circle. As the sun set on their reunited family, justice served not with bullets, but with unyielding truth, proving that sometimes the most dangerous weapon is a father's love.